Dave Repson, Howard Griffith with you as the Ducks putting the finishing touches on an impressive win over Oregon State. Now they can turn their attention
finally
to State College next week, Howard.
Really, you think about this game, it started out a little slow, but then they took absolute control of this game. Now they can focus on the big game next week in Happy Valley.
We'll have post-game reaction coming up right after the game. Take you through the rest of the day in the Big Ten. Get you ready for this evening's activities as well. So lots to come as soon as you guys are done in Eugene. Jeff?
All right, thanks so much, Rever. 2 minutes to go. Up next, Rever, Howard Griffith, Marcel Reese standing by. Good night, everybody.
We welcome you into our football postgame. It is great to have you with us. Dave Repson, Howard Griffith. Marcel Reese just watched Oregon take care of Oregon State. Dominant effort from the Ducks after a little bit of a slow start, but I would say a fast one.
Listen, we're always looking for a reason to nitpick at this particular team when you're playing as well as they've been playing, and they gave us that early in this game, and they took control. This is a veteran team, an experienced team that understands what they're doing.
You're right, Howard, and we have to look at these rivalry games especially and grade them a little different. You wanted to win the game, but how did we win it? Were we disciplined? Did we take care of penalties? Did we win the penalty battle? Did we win the turnover battle? And at the end, did we dominate the line of scrimmage? I think this Oregon Duck team took care of every line item that they needed to.
35th straight win over an unranked opponent, the second longest streak in the nation, and now they can turn their attention to that huge showdown rematch of the Big Ten championship game.
I mean, somebody's looking forward to that game.
I'm kind of interested in it. I'm weird that way. Let's check out how this one went down between the Ducks and the Beavers. The 129th meeting between these two ancient rivals, Dante Moore, DeCorian Moore. He's pretty good. They're both pretty good. Oregon 7-0 early on. Late first quarter, though, and here come the Beavs. Anthony Hankerson for the 1-yard touchdown run. But from there, it was all Oregon. Moore to Kenyon Sadiq, who is just phenomenal, Howard.
Yes, one of the best players at his position. Does a great job of catching that ball with their hands and also doing a great job of blocking at the point of attack.
305 passing yards for Dante Moore, a career high for him. Here, Jeremiah McLennan on the receiving end. It was 28-7. And then the deep ball to Gary Bryant. They ended up going over 580 yards of total offense.
I think that's pretty good.
That is good.
That just is. You can win a few games that way.
Just a few.
Ducks win it by the final of 41-7. Let's get some post-game reaction now. Brooke Fletcher out in Eugene.
Yeah, Jalen.
Bryce, your last rivalry game, just take me through the emotions you're feeling right now.
I mean, it's great, man. When you can win like this, in this fashion, in front of all the fans in Austin, there's no better feeling.
You had 10 tackles today. What do you attest that to?
A good D-line. You know, they hold the blocks up front, and linebackers able to run through and make plays behind them.
What are you starting to learn about this team?
We're relentless. You know, we play hard. We're maybe young and unexperienced, but we're getting a lot of experience in these games, and we're relentless.
Thank you, Bryce.
Yeah, let's go. Hey, sometimes I want to say this: little brother can hang with you in the first quarter like they did, but after that, you don't want to fight with your big brother. Go Ducks.
We've seen that in this conference.
We've seen that once or twice.
There is nothing like a little brother reference.
Oh, my word.
All right, I don't want to get in the middle of Oregon and Oregon State, but
I do.
Yeah, there's some inflammatory comments perhaps there. That's all right, Bryce Fletcher, local kid. This rivalry means a lot to him, but we have historically seen that backfire a little bit in Michigan State. I don't know whether
this is going to work out, but
this is a little different balance of power here,
but
no doubt.
I'll tell you this. You know, he alluded to just how young and experienced this team is. They don't look that way when they play. This is a veteran team when they play. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They go out and make the plays that are out there to be made. And that's why when I made the comment earlier, I said, this is a veteran team that knows how to go out and compete. Yeah. But then you think about it, you start to look, and it's like, maybe they're young, but they have been around and seen a lot of football.
The great thing that Dan Lanning does with his teams is he expedites that process of experience for his team. I think he does that in the team room, through training camp, through the offseason, and then gets them going early on in the season. You see, this team's not putting up 55, 65 points and just running off with the horses right away. I believe that Dan Lanning is strategically challenging his team, the way he calls plays, the way he sets them up, to be able to withstand the long and relentless season that the Big Ten Conference presents.
So coming out of that game against Northwestern last week, I think the one concern was line of scrimmage. And Northwestern ran the ball well. I know they had the long gash run at the end that maybe distorted the stats, but they had run the ball fairly consistently throughout that game. Different story in this one. How important was it for the run defense to show up in the way that it did today?
Well, I think in any time you have a team take advantage of one of your weaknesses or perceived weakness in that particular game, you want to be able to address that. So they went, and I'm sure they addressed that this week, and that showed up in the numbers when you look at only allowing 67 yards rushing. So you go in and address the issues that you're having, and we talk about Coach Lanning and what he does to press the right buttons to make sure this team is still competing and getting better in these wins. People say it all the time. Well, if it's an ugly win, there's still a lot of coaching that can be done. That's true, but it's also real. When you can sit there and turn the tape on, hey, God, were you supposed to do this? You should be dominating this single block here, and you're not. When you have an opportunity to still go back and look at that kind of tape, you're going to continue to get better when you have the right mindset.
The best coaches at any level of football, you don't coach the score. And Dan Lanning's not coaching the score. You can tell he's trying to fix the things that they're not doing perfect and getting ready for games like next week when they're playing Penn State. And they're trying to win those games on the road and at home. The flip side of their run defense is that run offense. You're looking at them run for 280 yards today on the ground with 8 different rushers. That is impressive.
So interesting to look at the contrast of Penn State versus Oregon so far, right? Penn State isn't overly happy with its offense to this point. So they come out of that game last week against Villanova. They're not happy with how this thing came together. Oregon, same way. They weren't overly happy, even though both were dominant wins, weren't overly happy with the way they performed against Northwestern. Would you rather be Oregon, where you had a week to work on it against a lesser foe?
It is.
Or would you rather be Penn State, where it's grinding it out in practice without a game in between?
I would rather know that I can go out and execute the game plan. I'd rather be able to say, hey, we've done this already. As opposed to, we still have to prove it. And that's kind of what you talked about. That's where Penn State is from an offensive standpoint. There's still questions. We still believe that, we know what they do defensively, but offensively, the questions are still there.
To your point, Howard, I would much rather have a larger sample size over a smaller sample size, even if it's just one game, because you get live action, live bullets against a different color. And that's what Oregon was presented today against Oregon State, because it's a different dynamic when you're coming into a rival game and you're also looking forward to say we have a huge game next week, but we cannot forget about this 0-3 Beavers team, that this could very well be their national championship game because they want to knock us off. So there's a ton of different dynamics, especially with the sports psyche of this young Oregon team and Dan Lanning. So, and to your point, Dan Lanning and his coaches also got to coach another game in different scenarios and work on those situational football things that are going to happen that Penn State didn't necessarily get to do.
And I know this isn't a great Oregon State team this year. They fall to 0-4. They've given up at least 34 points in every game. But, I mean, I think to your point earlier, Marcel, this is everything to them. And so I understand. I mean, to compare it to what they're going to face at the Whiteout in State College, that would be foolish to suggest that. However, it still had a little bit of a big game feel. You have a game where it feels like there's some focus because of what it means. I mean, you guys tell me. I know I could be way off base. You are not off base. I have played a lot of games against the Oregon State Beavers. No matter what their record said, they were always tough. They were always tough. They were always physical, and they always came to play. So the Oregon Ducks know that's coming, and they know that they had the big target on their back. No matter what, they had a target on their back, and they had to show up. Dante Moore showed up in a huge way. Over 300 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns. He continues to have a great year. He's with Brooke.
Dante, you told me there were a lot of emotions preparing for this game today. Just what did it mean to come out and perform in a game like this the way that you did?
Yeah, at the beginning of the week, I kind of remembered my freshman year when I played at Oregon State and, you know, how much adversity I went through. And it's kind of that feeling of, you know, you never want to happen again in life. So I made sure this week I pushed myself, made sure I push my teammates and come out, want to come out victorious. But overall, it's a rivalry game. We're playing for Phil. We wore the jerseys for Phil, and we thank this community so much. We love Eugene. We love the state of Oregon.
Take me through the confidence right now in this team, especially as you gear up for a matchup next week versus Penn State.
Yeah, every week Coach Landon pushes us at practice. Practice has to look a certain way, and if it doesn't look a certain way, he makes it. He restarts practice all over again. So we're going to push ourselves. We're going to recover. We got a great week coming up, but very excited for just go celebrate in the locker room with our team.
Thanks, Dante.
Thank you so much.